She stood barefoot in a fast food parking lot. No shoes. No sense of urgency. In one hand, a hammer. In the other, a knife, slick with something dark and drying. When the police approached, she didn't run. She dropped the weapons. Calm. Almost empty. She was bleeding. Her shirt was torn. And yet, she asked for one thing. A Diet Mountain Dew. What she did next with it leaves even veteran detectives speechless. If you're drawn to the dark, the strange, and the stories most people won't tell, subscribe to Behind Closed Doors. We bring you real cases, real horror, and the silence that always follows the scream. Let's begin. The heat of a Florida summer night. July 1, 2023. Daytona Beach. At 1:46 a.m., a fire call comes in from a quiet street on the east side of town. A house, 2 stories. Flames visible from the second floor. Firefighters rush in, expecting another faulty outlet or overheated air unit. But this wasn't just fire. Inside, on the upper level, they find a body. Face down in a bedroom, charred, battered, lifeless. It's 79-year-old Michael Cerasoli. And he hasn't just died in the fire. Michael has multiple stab wounds. Blunt force trauma to the skull. Blood spatter on the walls. 2 cell phones, found near him. And a bloody knife lying just a few feet away. One of the phones belongs to Michael. The other? It belongs to his roommate. But she's gone. Her name is Nichole Maks. 37 years old. She'd moved in with Michael not long ago. A temporary arrangement, some said. He was older, she was struggling. Some assumed he was trying to help her. But help can sometimes walk into a nightmare. When officers searched the rest of the house, they noticed something odd. No signs of forced entry. No ransacked rooms. Just a second floor soaked in smoke and secrets. And Nichole? Nowhere to be found. That is, until just after 3 a.m. Roughly 90 minutes after the fire call, a Daytona Beach officer spots a woman walking barefoot near a Crystal's restaurant. Her shirt is ripped. There's blood on her legs. She's holding a knife and a hammer. The officer stops her. Nichole drops both weapons without protest. They ask her the basics. Where do you live? Do you know a man named Michael? She says she's been homeless for 4 years. That she doesn't know any Michael. She claims she's just wandering. But inconsistencies surface fast. Her ID lists Michael's address. The second phone? Hers. When shown Michael's photo, she stares too long. Too stiff. Then slowly, she starts to change her story. Okay. I did live there, but not for long, she says. I don't really talk to him. He stays upstairs. I only go up there to feed my spiders. Feed her spiders. By now she was already handcuffed. The police explained they'd be collecting a DNA sample and were trying to take her into custody. She began to stall, claiming to be uncomfortable, and then asked for something to drink. They give her a can of Diet Mountain Dew. And what happened next became the stuff of internet legend. She opened the can, but didn't drink it. She held it. Stalled. Then, dumped it over her head. Hair, arms, skin, soaked in soda. She poured it across her shirt. Rubbed it into her skin. As detectives moved to stop her, she fought. Kicking. Pulling. Screaming. Why? She believed the Mountain Dew could erase her DNA. As if the carbonation, or some sugar substitute, could undo the violence of what happened. She was arrested, not for murder, but for tampering with evidence, resisting arrest, and held as a person of interest. Back at the station, when a detective calmly told her, "Your roommate has been murdered." Nichole's reply, "Oh, ach." That moment chilled the room. It wasn't a scream. It wasn't denial. Just indifference. A response that, to most, felt anything but normal. She was booked. Then released. But investigators weren't done with her yet. Investigators recovered a bloody knife near Michael's body. And the pattern of the scene told a clear, if horrifying, story. Michael had been attacked with a knife, but it didn't stop there. A hammer was also used, found in the same area Nichole was discovered. After the killing, the fire had been set. Possibly as a cover-up. The motive? Unclear. Maybe rage. Maybe psychosis. Maybe something darker we'll never fully understand. Nichole Maks had already been arrested once. But it wasn't until days later, when the forensics came back, that police made their move. The DNA on the knife, a match for Nichole Maks. Detectives moved fast. They found her again. But something was different. She had dyed her hair jet black. It was a small change, but deliberate. An effort to avoid recognition? A shift in identity? Or just a sign that she knew her time was up? This time, she wasn't just a person of interest. She was under arrest for second-degree murder. Initially, prosecutors considered first-degree murder, a charge that could have meant life without parole. Her public defender brought up a harrowing past. Claims of sexual abuse, sex trafficking, betrayal after betrayal dating back to her teenage years. It was a life of wounds. And now, a life in a cage. The judge acknowledged her pain, but didn't flinch from the truth. "We can't lose sight of the fact that she murdered someone," Judge Leah Case said. "She took steps to cover it up. That tells me she was not insane. But there's something else about this case that never made the headlines. A subtle detail that investigators noticed in the fire-damaged bedroom. A message, possibly unintentional. Possibly planned. And it raises a question. Did Nichole Maks want to erase the evidence? Or leave behind one final, unforgettable clue? In the days after the arrest, the home on Clark Street stood silent. Its second floor was gutted. The smell of burned insulation still clung to the air. But one detail had stuck with investigators. The fire wasn't just random. It had been set, with purpose. There was accelerant on the carpet near the bed. The source? A melted plastic container found in the hallway. Not gasoline. Something cheaper. Accessible. And beneath the bed, charring that stopped suddenly around one object. A scorched towel. Folded. As if it had been used. To cover something. Or someone. Nichole Maks was not unknown to local authorities. But she had never done anything like this. Court records showed no violent past. Only scattered behavior complaints. Odd public outbursts. Mental health calls that never led to anything formal. But now, her defenders pointed to something deeper. A history of trauma. Of trafficking. Of people who used her and discarded her. Her own mind, her lawyer said, eventually joined that list. It betrayed her. But prosecutors pushed back. They pointed to the DNA cover-up attempt with Mountain Dew. The controlled burn of only the second floor. The attempted disguise. The fact that she lied, repeatedly, and only admitted to knowing Michael after mounting pressure. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was chaos with structure. Destruction with a trace of strategy. While processing the scene, detectives found something else. On the nightstand near Michael's bed, barely burned, was a receipt. Dated just 2 days before the murder. A grocery list. Microwave meals. Coffee. Diet Mountain Dew. Bandages. The name on the loyalty card, Nichole Maks. Some believe this proved nothing. Just coincidence. Others think it was left on purpose. A calling card. Or a test. Because if you wanted to disappear, you'd destroy everything. Not leave a receipt behind, next to your victim. As the media obsessed over the killer, little was said about the victim. Michael Cerasoli was 79. Retired electrician. Widower. No children. Neighbors say he was kind, if a bit private. He kept his yard clean. Paid on time. He liked jazz and crossword puzzles. And he'd invited Nichole in when she needed a place to stay. He may have been her only stability. And she may have destroyed the only place he felt safe. In court, Nichole Maks sat stone-faced. Occasionally blinking. Sometimes looking up. Rarely reacting. Her attorney described a woman abandoned by everyone, first by family, then by society, and finally by her own psyche. The prosecution called it calculated. In the end, the court accepted her no contest plea for second-degree murder, arson of a dwelling, tampering with physical evidence, resisting an officer with violence. She received 35 years in prison, the absolute minimum under the agreement. Not because she was innocent. Not because she was misunderstood. But because justice, sometimes, is the best bargain you can make before the truth burns down with everything else. Let's go back to the moment that made this case infamous. Nichole asking for a soda, then dumping it over her head. It sounds absurd, like urban legend. But in 2023, a study from North Carolina State University did something strange. It suggested that sucralose, a sugar substitute found in many sodas, could damage DNA strands in high concentration when ingested. Now, whether that applies to pouring it on your body? Highly doubtful. But it raises a darker thought. Was this something Nichole read? Did she believe it could save her? Or was it all just panic in a moment of unraveling? Michael's home has since been sold. The fire damage repaired. The walls painted over. But the echoes don't go away. Not for the neighbors. Not for the firefighters who found his body. Not for the officers who watched a woman try to erase her crime with a soda can. And not for us. Because stories like this don't come with closure. They come with questions. Do you believe 35 years was enough for what she did? Was Nichole Maks truly unraveling, or trying to outsmart the system? And most of all, can trauma explain a crime, or just make it harder to look away? Let us know what you think in the comments. Your voice could help someone see this story in a new way. If this story stayed with you, if you believe some truths live behind closed doors, then subscribe to Behind Closed Doors. Because every headline has a shadow. And every scream deserves to be heard.